So this is a departure from my usual content, which is usually art-based, but okay, this does involve art a little bit, because it does involve dolls, which I love dolls. Uh, as you can probably guess by my character being canonically a siren, that I love that, okay, not love, but one of my interests is Monster High. Um, but I do have to say that I have been seeing some not so great things with the Monster High community when it comes to the discussion of G3 in relations to Generation 1 Monster High. And I am at an age where I have experienced parts of both of G1 and G3. Um, and I do have a favorite G1 character from back when G1 was the big one, which is Frankenstein. Frankenstein is they're still my favorite character in G3 too, but I also love G3 Jennifer Long. Basically, what I am saying, what I have noticed when it comes to the debate over G3 and G1 is people saying, oh, they've made them fat or they're not as stylish. But I do have to point out that G3 Monster High isn't for you. They are not for the adults. They were not made for the adults who grew up with G1. They're made for children. Children who are growing up today. The fashion is not going to reflect the early 2000s and the 2010s. Not to mention, when it comes to the redesigns of characters, I do very much love that they redesign Jennifer Long, because in her G1 counterpart, she was gold, completely gold, and the coloring made her yellow. If you don't know anything about Jennifer Long, she is based off of a Chinese dragon. Reason why her last name is Long. Not to mention her name is a play on Jennifer. Jennifer. Not to mention, from what I've heard, that apparently they would have stereotypical Chinese music play in the background when Jennifer would talk. Which is yikes. Also, not to mention, G1 did have a problem with whitewashing Claudine Wolfe, who is canonically black. And also not really representing a Afrocentric hair type, too. She did have dolls where they were prototyped to have curlier hair, like foreseen that kind of stuff. But when the dolls were released, they were somehow got straightened from the departure of their prototypes. And also it comes down to the other thing I am mentioning is I've seen people say, oh, the characters are fat. No, they're not. That kind of pisses me off at moments, because I am someone with a more naturally athletic build, and when I see people say that they made Jackie Laura fat, it kind of pisses me off, because I do have a build that's slightly similar to hers. Not to mention, I also have the same issue with the Genshin community, when they release the character Varessa, but that's a different story. But yeah, I have also seen people say, oh, why did they make Frankenstein non-binary? In my opinion, I don't have much room to talk on the complexities of trans identities since I myself am not trans. Yes, I'm queer, but I'm not trans. The fact that they are including more diverse identities like queer identities like trans, lesbians, and everything like that, I do find important, especially with how things are going on right now. Not to mention them including Twyla, who is canonically autistic. While I'm not autistic myself, I do have ADHD. And I do understand her, and when it comes to loud noises, they can be overstimulating at moments. Not to mention being shy around others. I totally get that. I'm I'm trying to figure out my thoughts and how to word everything. As you've heard, as I record, I do change my wording as I go because sometimes words are hard for me because in the past I've had a speech impediment, which did affect how I express words with SHs. And I do enjoy seeing the representation that G3 Monster High is showing because it is showing closer to their original message of inclusion and accepting others, no matter who they are. Also, not to mention Abby Abominable. Stunning. Amazing. They did change her accent from a Russian accent to a more Nepalese accent because she is based off of a Yeti. I also this is a bit off topic and more personal. The reason why I represent myself as a VTuber, even though I've shown my face on the internet a couple times in other places, I am someone who does struggle a little bit with being on camera and trying to figure out my words. I'm getting better at that. But I find representing myself as a VTuber as a layer for me to fully get my thoughts across, since I don't have to stare back at my face and monitor what expressions I'm making or if I'm pushing it too far to where I look uncanny. Also, I have been taking long breaks in between posting because I've been having a little bit of trouble working up the motivation to draw, and things I've drawn I've either left unfinished or I've completely hated them because they were not to the ideal that I wanted. Thank you for listening to me ramble. I love you guys. Like and subscribe. Thank you.